Hi there, welcome to the Crazyhouse World Championship. This is the first game from the candidates. I'm sorry I didn't follow this from the start, but I think they moved the starting time 1 hour. But we're here live, and this is between blitzbullet, the rating favorite of the tournament, and LegionDestroyer, one of the possible contenders for the spot in the Crazyhouse World Championship final. And as you can see, LegionDestroyer has taken the lead, 2-1. And what to make of this position? Well, black is ahead on material by a queen. Okay, so clear lead for black, and I don't see the compensation for white. Although there are some ideas here to take here, checkmate on c8, or reverse check here with the rook and take here maybe. If you had another knight, that could be dangerous. And the king is quite safe for the time being here. The knight covering g4, so even if the h file is open, there are no apparent tricks. So is there time maybe to capture b7, threaten mate on c8? So blitzbullet thinking here, is it possible to save the position? LegionDestroyer was ready for bishop at g5, which provides some shelter here for the king, and also attacks the queen, of course. But simply pawn at f6 covers the queen at least. All these light pieces provides good cover for the white king. And this threatens rook at g8 when white can pick up a rook and then maybe take on b7. Black is still a few moves away from actually achieving something, but this threatens queen takes g3, followed by knight at f2 mate. And I'm not sure white saw this. That must have been a blind spot for white. I don't think he should have allowed this. So maybe bishop g1 and maybe take on g3. Okay, so this clears the f2 square for a knight check, or knight mate, I should say. And it's tricky, you give up that rook, there is also rook at h2. LegionDestroyer very low on time here, but he should have a winning position. So that blocks the f2 square, but on the other hand you give up the queen, the promoted queen here on g8. Now black looks quite safe, I would say. Renewing the threat here. And maybe the queen, oh, you can, that was with check, so. Black just trying to regain some control here, but it just seemed a bit unnecessary to give up those pieces. But now he's inside the house, although I can simply take here. I'm not sure why I didn't take on d7 before he captured f3 though. But the players are so low on time. Looking very safe for black here. So even though he messed up slightly before, he's still in the driver's seat. Slowly making progress here. Trading rooks, getting the attack. And these bishops are mighty. And this is the end. Rook e2 with an unstoppable attack. The queen is entering the position. And a bishop check here. Oh, the rook is already protected. Oh, never mind. Few more checks and this will be checkmate. And LegionDestroyer takes the lead 3-1. Wow, this could be a slight upset. Although LegionDestroyer was one of my dark horses in this race. Let's have a quick look. I need to make this a bit smaller. Where is it? I can't see. Oh, never mind. So what's happening here? blitzbullet likes the fianchetto setup. He's crawled all the way into the corner, surrounded by light pieces, and blitzbullet is a master at putting pressure on the clock. Look at this time. He finds all these natural moves all the time. But now f5 is under fire. Do you play knight e4? What do you do? So you probably need to give the queen for 2 light pieces here as black. And I should mention LegionDestroyer has fianchetto himself. but he only has one piece for the queen, and that isn't enough. Exactly where did he lose his queen? Oh, here. So I think this should be a bit better for black. Although the white pieces are quite well coordinated. And do we have any viewers? Welcome, those of you who are watching. LegionDestroyer wasting a lot of time here. And blitzbullet putting pressure all over the board. You probably don't want to take d5 because of bishop takes g5, lowering the king out on the board. But putting pressure on this knight looks like a good idea. Also protecting f6. I'm just commenting on the games here from the candidates. And we're live. And blitzbullet versus LegionDestroyer is a match between two of the favorites. They play 10 games regardless of the outcome. All the games count. And this is the first match of the candidates. So wisely retreating here to f3. And maybe white can start trapping pieces with the pawns here on the dark squares. Yes, very strong players. So probably pawn f4. And then start infiltrating on the dark squares. Notice also the threat of pawn at b7, which is quite annoying. So black figured he had to start counter punching somehow. And trading off this defender looks like a very good idea. And anticipating an opening of the G file here. Although this seems like an excellent move. White needs to be a bit careful here because maybe pawn takes here, rook takes g2, and then you definitely can't take with the king, or can you? Because of knight at h4 when you need to go out on the board. But maybe you can survive that. So you can take here, rook takes g2, king here, and bishop takes f3 when we have discovered checks. Very tense fight. And the black king seems a bit more unsafe than a white one. Slight lead in material for white, and white does have a strong grip here on the dark squares leading down to the white king. And there are no dangerous checks by this knight retreating because white can counter check on g7. This looks like what is winning. Too much pressure on g7, and indeed LegionDestroyer in the lead 4-1. Very impressive. And blitzbullet needs a win desperately here. So a more conventional setup here for white. Building a strong center. So black is threatening c2 here. I suppose you need to defend it somehow. White prefers to defend it with the rook when you can double sometimes. Maybe on the f-file. Neat little move, putting pressure here on the dark, on the black pieces. Although simply bishop at f5 should be enough. And this semi-open f5 could favor black actually. c2 is hanging. And I don't think I see a reason why not to take. Well, rook takes maybe. And if bishop takes, you have knight takes e6. Possibly. Also, the knight was threatening h5. So LegionDestroyer struggling to find a plan here. Some weaknesses here on h5, on e6. But giving away the h5 pawn doesn't seem so dangerous. c2 is hanging. I'm thinking white will play knight at g4 to get rid of this bishop, maybe. But maybe not now, though. So knight at g4, the move before, maybe was a bit more natural. You don't really want to take on f5 when black can retreat from c2. That should be an advantageous sequence for black. So blitzbullet making use of the barrage technique, but here he clearly missed that e3 was hanging, and now oof, this is starting to look really nasty. Just losing a very important pawn and losing all the coordination. Blitzbullet is a master defender, but I don't think he can survive this. With a queen in hand, knight at h6 would be mate in a couple of moves. King to the corner and queen g8, but alas, he doesn't have extra knights. And this is just hopeless. I mean, black will take on d3, and these bishops are monsters. And if white takes here, quite possibly knight takes g4, followed by bishop at g1, could be mating. I wonder about knight takes g4, bishop at g1. Black has a lot of material here in hand, should be made fairly quickly. There's a spot here on d1 for a knight maybe. And 5-1 in favor of LegionDestroyer, who is just destroying blitzbullet's legions. And blitzbullet needs to be careful here, because every game counts, so he can't just give up here. He needs to fight back, try to get a few points within, but this looks like a bad opening. Really bad opening for black. I mean, you can't play pawn g6 because white will simply take. With pawn takes, knight takes, it's checkmate. So slightly sloppy, I would say, by blitzbullet here in the opening, and you can see he's starting to think here. This is not what he had planned. White is getting violent here, and what would have happened if the rook takes? Well, maybe simply queen h5, threatening mate, threatening the rook. And white has won a crucial pawn. And why not just take on g7? King takes. This is nice also, putting pressure on c7. I might have been just greedy and take c7 there. But this is surely very good. Threatening rook at h8. And probably just knight h5, pawn g7, whatever. So many good moves here for... How do you even defend this knight? This is looking strong. The knight is just hanging. And poor blitzbullet. 6-1. Wow. And LegionDestroyer is closing in on 2,700. blitzbullet switching to e4 instead. This is probably a bit out of his comfort zone. He's thinking in the opening, indicating that he's not quite familiar with these lines. And I think maybe he has already misplayed it a little bit. This looks very comfortable for black, I think. By castling so early, you show your hand, and black gets a target and can start attacking. So there were numerous tactical possibilities here. The idea is queen takes, bishop takes here, and there will be a knight fork on e2. Regardless if you take with the pawn or with the queen. Knight e2 check wins the queen back. So we might as well already say congratulations to LegionDestroyer because he has won the match. And the question is, how big a margin will it be? White is going all in here, putting all his money on an attack on the black king. Looks like black has enough defensive resources though. Although it's not so easy here. Because, well, probably something, die on g6, knight e5 check, and then you can play king e7 probably. Because d5 is then protected by the queen. At some point, black might consider just giving the queen for a piece. Let's say knight takes, you probably take with the queen. Knight takes, pawn takes. And never mind the queen here. Should be fine for black, I think. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. That looks so passive. Doesn't threaten anything. And black just goes for the throat here. Black is up a piece. Gaining tempi on the white queen. Although LegionDestroyer is really low on time here, maybe he messed up a little bit and he almost forgot his clock there. This will be tough. Tough to hold this. blitzbullet is a very creative player. Look at that queen sack. This will be a nightmare to defend for black. Playing only on increment. Maybe a rook g1 just to save one knight in hand for the upcoming attack in case black takes the queen. Oh, this is risky business. Really risky business. I don't like this retreat at all. Why should he just continue his bluff attack, I think. What to do now? This made the position very easy to play for black, I think. Now is the time to start training pieces. Threatening mate, threatening the queen. And black could have taken the bishop and then checked here, pick up the queen, covering e6. But this just looks hopeless. There's a rook hanging, and still no sign of a white counterattack. 7-1! What is happening here? As you can see in their mutual encounters, the earlier encounters, blitzbullet was ahead almost 2-1, 200 games or so, 1 against 100. But LegionDestroyer has been very solid in these games. Hi there, Spinal Tap. And blitzbullet trying some desperate opening here. Probably dubious one. Hi there, Chuck. And I have to ask, Spinal Tap, if you're the same Spinal Tap from Lichess, were you Mr. Cool on Fix? Yeah, maybe he's out of practice, but this is still a surprise. But blitzbullet is not out of the race because he's one of the guys who can build up really big wins in his matches. I think the weaker players in this tournament will have a hard time against his quick play. But LegionDestroyer in a great position to get one of the top 2 spots, because I've heard rumors about the second spot being interesting, because maybe Katask is not defending his title this year, and in that case the first 2 spots will play for the World Championship. That's you, Spinal Tap. And I remember Mr. Cool from Fix, but that was quite a while ago. If I'm not dreaming, you have to be the same guy. Did you play in the early years of this millennium? Maybe even in the end of the previous one? And here blitzbullet has somehow tricked, I think, LegionDestroyer. This is such a well coordinated attack. Just looking crushing, I think. So maybe this is what blitzbullet should have done from the beginning, because LegionDestroyer looked very well prepared. So blitzbullet should have mixed things up a little bit, I think. And nothing works here for white. A lot of stuff hanging. And is there even... Yeah, there is a threat. Knight e7 followed by rook takes h7. So you can't afford doing silly things here. But this is anything but silly. Let's say king here, knight a3, knight at c4. Oh, you could pick up this with check as well. Yeah, blitzbullet winning this one at least. And now you just trade queens. This is killing. I expect a quick resignation here. Queen b2 drives the king out on the board and resigns. So 7-2. And this is the last game, and blitzbullet playing some original openings here. And I think actually that would have been the medicine against LegionDestroyer, but it's too late. Too late. And this is provocative, but taking here is probably not good. The white king will just take, and this is just a check, and the king will go back, and it can always hide on the queen side if necessary. So this is probably a good spot where you can just castle short, because... Oh, this is the idea. If the knight takes, black will play pawn at g3. So I guess king takes. Then again, pawn at g4. And if the knight moves, you have queen h4 check. So maybe this is a neat idea. So what to eat here, the knight or the pawn? He goes for the knight. And I don't think white will touch this anytime soon, because then queen h4 will come and check. So white trying to consolidate a little bit. He's a pawn down at the moment. And possibly knight at g4. Another sacrifice for a pawn. And I guess the rook must take. Yeah, very surprising result, I'd have to say. I was predicting a close match, but not a huge win like this. And this could be very promising, actually, for black. The white pieces are not so well coordinated here. Maybe rook e1. But on the other hand, what do you need another queen for? So I expect some sort of queen sacrifice here. Maybe queen takes, bishop takes. Also bishop takes here, followed by knight takes. Well, I suppose you need to take, and then maybe pawn f3. The white king looking very naked here. And in case of rook f1, you have bishop at h2, deflecting the king from the defense of the rook. And possibly bishop at h2 anyway. And maybe you take this knight instead. Okay. This is such a hard position to defend here for white. I thought maybe queen takes f2 was more difficult to defend against, because the knight on f1 is a target, which is not so easy to defend. One way of doing this would be pushing the h-pawn just one step away from h4. Maybe his anal beads were lagging a little bit there. But what's this? Is yeah, you just play h4, right? Take here, it's double check when you take g3. This should be over now. Trying to get rid of some defenders. Also now h6 could be hanging. You can play bishop g5 take on h6 if you're careful. This is not as careful. But clearly this is winning as well. As you can see, white has no threats whatsoever, so black could just simply pick up the rook whenever he likes to. Although now he completely messed up. That was really unnecessary. Although he might actually survive this. Yeah, go for the win. Go for the loss, I mean. Nice find there. So a rather tragic end to this game for LegionDestroyer, but yeah. So 7-3 in favor of LegionDestroyer. Congratulations. Let's look at what happened here. I mean, black is just winning here. Yeah, h5, as I pointed out. All the rook at h6. I didn't see rook at h6. Apparently the computer didn't see it either here. Okay, so h4, this is just winning, and the quickest way to win is to check on h4. That's not so easy to find, but bishop f4 was an excellent move, and here I suggested bishop g5, which is a very solid move. This is obviously also winning. Just winning. But taking on e7 with the king is not to be recommended, because this is mate in 6, starting with bishop at g5. This complicated matters a little bit. Bishop at h7 and rook at h5 is mate in 2. still forced mate, and I don't think white ever messed this up completely. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I saw that rook at h6. That was a very strange move. But let's have a look at rook at h6. Because I thought h5 was good, actually. But this is such a strange move. You often see how you block with the pawn, and that's what happened in the game. But what is this? Rook at h6. Well, obviously the rook is threatening the black rook, so, and it's also defending against h4, or is it? Yeah, check here, of course. Silly me. And this is just ridiculous. What a move. Rook at h6. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, you can't go back to the match. Damn. Never mind. Someone else will look at the first two games, maybe. I will call it quits for now. And we have a lot of interesting matches here in the first round. We will see Spinal Tap versus Zixen, my fellow countryman. Clearcast versus PKNM. PKNM, also Swedish. No, this is round 9. Sorry, Magwort Zixen. Clearcast Master 10. Little Plotkin versus Suanet, Bugzilla, Fumintox, and PKNM. Spinal Tap. And this year, no weak players in the candidates. A lot of interesting matches, and I'm sure blitzbullet will bounce back. This will infuriate him, and he will be back for a vengeance. Yeah, maybe we should try to look at the games. Are they still here? The first two. I could try to find them and analyze them a little bit. This is the first game. And this is the second one. And this is the third one. I missed these three. And LegionDestroyer playing white here. Queen g5. What a strange move. And this is a line we saw in another game. So this is prep, I suppose. How is the position after? Yeah, I don't like this for white. But apparently LegionDestroyer handled a bad opening in great fashion and simply won this game. So blitzbullet apparently won the second game. Okay, nice little attack there. And I saw some parts of this game, which I found very interesting. So 2 pawns for the piece there. Looking fairly even. But white just crushing now. But Black managed to run, although he didn't get very far. Okay, so well-deserved victory for LegionDestroyer, and it could have been even worse for blitzbullet, considering the last game. Thanks for watching. I'll see you a lot, I think, this fall, because we have so many